Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to today's webinar from the team here at Nalpeiron. My name is John and really appreciate you coming by today and exploring a really interesting topic with us that should be near and dear to all of our hearts as we head into 2025, which is effective selling, right? And how to grow revenue, retain revenue in the coming year. Obviously, a high priority every year for our companies. So with that, I'm going to dive right into some of the content today and look forward to your questions and exploring this topic more with you all. Should be here for about 15 to 20 minutes for this webinar. And what we're going to cover is really the challenge, some of the things that we see happening with revenue facing teams that just create large challenges and obstacles to them being successful in their roles and growing the business. We'll talk quickly about the stakes, right? Why it's important now more than ever. And then, of course, we want to solve some of these problems. So, what are some of the effective ways that we've seen, right, in talking to our customers, talking to friends of ours in the industry? What are some of the solutions that are out there at our disposal that we can utilize? So, a little bit about me. My name's John Zilch. I'm a chief product officer here at Nalpeiron. Got about a dozen, maybe 13 years of experience in product management. Um, and I think what's interesting probably for this webinar today is before that, I had another life, which was business operations and supporting sales teams and marketing teams, and in some ways, customer success teams as well. And that will definitely tie into the topic of today, which is smarter selling. And what excites me is that as a product manager now, I can build products that are going to help those same people do a better job and be more successful in their roles as sellers. So, what is the challenge? Let's start with that first leg of the stool. A challenge that we're seeing all the time now for sales teams is that it feels like the floor underneath them is changing a bit, right? More so than it has in the past. Of course, we're always evolving, technology is always changing, but now more than ever, that sales role has to change. Before it used to be, and you can see the screenshot, the stock photo above, folks would head out to the golf course. They'd go out to lavish dinners, right? Um, Whatever it might be, user conferences, right? And getting together with your customer and really creating those personal connections. What we'll talk about today is that still exists. That's still really important, but also the world has become much more data driven, and those revenue centric approaches are now based on data and automation and technology, and customers themselves, as we'll see in a second, they want to go out and shop on their own. So as salespeople, what do we do? How do we react to that? And that can be really challenging for teams. So I think there's three pillars here around how sales has changed and continues to change at a very speedy rate here. So one is Gen AI. We read about it, we hear about it all the time. Um, and we're seeing even here in these stats, all these stats, by the way, come from explodingtopics.com. But you can see 57% of businesses plan to increase in AI driven sales in the coming year. So more companies are leveraging AI to try and increase revenue. No surprise, right? But I think as companies do that, as again, as for sales teams, they're left wondering, what is there for me to do if we're investing in intelligence that's supposed to act and think just like I do? That can be a little daunting, right? So that's one way sales is changing. Sales is changing also in that high touch engagement, right? What we talked about before with sales being really, really close to the customer and interacting with the customer and really being their guide through that selling process. Now it needs to be more focused, right? So when it's high touch, it has to be relevant. It has to be topical, right? There has to be some meat on that bone. It can't just be, hey, I'm calling to check in, right? Everyone seems to be, and I think this is true. Everyone's more busy, everyone's swamped. You don't really have a lot of time for these check-ins, especially if it's a salesperson that you don't really know too well, right? That's going to be met with some pause from the customer. So that's another way that we're challenged as sales teams. And then there's also just more automation, right? So that's just the third trend we're seeing with sales. 53% of companies that increased automation in their sales processes reported increased revenues. So Salesforce automation is not new. It's been around for decades. However, again, and there's a little, crossover with Gen AI and other data-driven approaches, automation can now happen much more fluidly, and folks are investing in it more. So this is, again, kind of a deeper dive into how the sales landscape is changing. So let's move on to the second, right? Why is this important? Well, here's some good news. This slide is meant to be good news. The SaaS market's still growing and it's selling season, right? So, as you can see from this stat or this quote, I suppose, from SaaStr, Gartner is projecting overall SaaS spend to be going up, right? 20% from 247 billion, right? So that's a lot more money that folks are going to be pumping into their budgets, their sales budgets, and that's a good thing, right? Or I should say, their technology budgets. People are spending their money now on solutions, right, for SaaS, and that's why I said at the beginning, we're in selling season, and we want to take advantage of it, right? As for-profit businesses, we want to strike while the iron's hot. Okay, so we know there's some challenges. We know that the world is changing. However, we also know that people are buying more software as a service more than ever, right? Which is really great. So, how do I overcome these challenges to take advantage of this market opportunity? Well, here's the solution as we see it, right? One of the main solutions, and I think the one that, frankly, we've been studying and diving into with Zengain, which is, by the way, our new product that we're launching here at Nalpeiron. We could talk about that toward the end, but I'm not going to talk about our products right now. I just want to talk about some of this stuff conceptually, right? So we talked about human engagement, right? Just salespeople connecting and really creating that human connection with their buyers and their customers. And we talked about automation, right? And being able to use data, use some of the technology that's out there to forward the sales process and make it more efficient, sometimes even without the salesperson, right? What's the bridge between those worlds? Because those are opposite ends of the spectrum. Well, we think, right, what sits in the middle of that is revenue intelligence. Meaning, if we can automate some of the intelligence, some of the information that we have coming in, we can hand that over to the human being, the salesperson, right? Or maybe customer success, and say, hey, this is really valuable. Now would be a good time to go reach out to the client, right? There's an opportunity for something, right? Maybe it's a couple new licenses. Maybe it's an upsell, an upgrade. Maybe it's just to get them to adopt the product that they've already purchased, right? Whatever those signals might be, revenue intelligence can tell us that and make it really, really interesting for a salesperson to have a reason to go and contact their customer. And a lot of folks are missing this today. That's one thing that I should call out. I've been seeing this for decades, as I mentioned. A long time ago, I worked in business operations, and sellers didn't have all the information that they wanted. It was very frustrating, right? And that's why you'll find in a second we'll talk about that black box of data, which is just, or information rather, that's just opaque today to a seller. And here's some good news too, right? So yes, it's a challenge. Yes, sellers could use more insights and more information at their fingertips. But the good news for this, in my estimation, is that data, that solution is already within your fingertips. It's already within your ownership. A lot of teams have the data that they need to arm the salespeople with relevant, actionable information. Whether you choose to use it or not is totally up to you. My plea today, right, where I'm trying to kind of spread the message around is go use that data in meaningful ways. Your sellers will love you for it, right? And they'll do very well in the process. They're going to have a much, much higher chance of closing deals. So what do I mean by that? What are some of the examples? I covered these a second ago, but here are a couple of the questions that the data, right? Data molded into information can help us with. How do my customers use the product today? That's kind of the umbrella statement, right? Whether you're in a trial, whether you've been around for 10 years, whether you're a new customer, whatever it might be, how are they using it? Who's using it? right? Which pages are they showing up on? Which buttons are they pressing? We don't want to know all of it because that's just an ocean of data that most of it's going to be noise. But pull out those nuggets that are going to be interesting for me as a seller based on, right? Based on where my customer's at and what their objectives are. Are customers getting value from their trial or POC, right? Yes, we set them up with a POC and we wipe our hands clean. No way. That should be the easy part, is setting them up with the trial or the POC. Maybe it's a new product, right? How do we now go and gauge, are they getting the most out of that product? Are they analyzing it and evaluating it the way they should, the way we want them to, which is hitting those points in the product that deliver value? And are the customers using the full breadth of our product offering? Are there features? Are there areas of the product we've invested a lot of money in our dev efforts to get some of this functionality up and running? But isn't it the worst when customers aren't using it? And if we have some information around that, even on a customer level, we can reach out and say, hey, you might want to come to our webinar. You might want to check out this document because I notice you're not using this area of the product that is meant for you. That can be really powerful. And again, when a seller calls me about that, or when a customer success person calls me, the customer, about that, I don't feel bothered at all. I actually feel like they're being helpful, right? And they're making sure that I get the most out of my investment, which is important to me too. Last one I'll cover here, would customers benefit from other solutions of ours? Are there signals in this data that tell us that, oh, now would be a good time to go and offer that other product, or maybe it's that upgrade, right? That add-on that they passed on in the initial purchase. Actually, now they need it, and we know that they need it, right? We can go into a little more of the detail around that. Now, that might all sound like magic, right? Like, oh, yeah, it would be great to have these questions answered, but how do we do it? Again, I think the answers sit with you. I don't think this is something you need to go out and find, right? Or put a 2-year project behind even. You've got first party product data. Someone at your organization does. Developers, IT, a database team, whoever it might be, they have access to this first party product data. If you have the means, right, or the resources to go and filter that data, prioritize it, model it, get insights out of it, right? Even if that's just a starting point, even if it's, I want to know which customers haven't logged in 30 days, right? That could be really interesting. Whatever that looks like, that aggregation, that pulling of the data to find true nuggets of information, start building that machine. That machinery then produces the third thing, which is signals for the sellers. And if I know salespeople as well as I think I do, they don't want a million signals a day. They don't want a bunch of, a spreadsheet of data. They don't want to go digging through anything, right? They're busy and they're very, very, very good. From the ones I've worked with, sellers are really, really great about connecting with humans. Let's take some of these insights and give them a reason to go connect with humans. It's the least we can do. Okay, so this is this is what we live and breathe here at Nalpeiron with our product Zengain, is this simple flow that you're seeing here. Take your first party data, aggregate it, find signals within the data, pass that over to your sellers in the most effective way so that they feel like they're empowered to go and have healthy conversations with customers. So now I will talk about one of our products because it's an offer for you. If you'd like to take it, right? If you want to give this a shot, if you actually want to say, hey, I'm willing to go find some of these signals for our sellers, I think it's going to help us in 2025, then we'd love to help you. So what you're seeing here is just a couple quick shots, if it plays, of a product that we've been working on called Zengain. Zengain is exactly the process that we showed before, where we're picking up all the different touch points in your product, we're connecting those to your customers, and then we're taking it and we're finding signals right within the customer. And if your team needs to go and research, well, what did Emily Watson in this case do inside the product, right? Maybe she's in a trial, what have you. Our product can tell you that. And we can also push that data back to Salesforce if you want to then go and take advantage of an opportunity. And as you're seeing on the left side of the screen, we have acquire, adopt, retain, and grow. Those are 4 modules, and they all relate to a certain area of the, or phase, I should say, of the customer journey, right? Acquire obviously being in the early stages where someone's looking to purchase your product. Adoption is post initial purchase. Um, retain speaks for itself, right? Our customers using the product the way they should so that they renew year after year. And then grow is how do we grow this account? How do we find other business units? How do we sell them other products? How do we upgrade them to that next tier? Um, so there's a lot here on purpose, right? We want to make sure that everyone at your organization is empowered to find the data and have access, right, to those signals that are important to them. So with that, I mentioned there'd be an offer here. We are starting a beta. Zengain is a brand new product, and we want to work with really smart, forward-thinking teams in this beta process. It is limited space. We're not taking 100 people. We want to make it somewhat of a smaller group, maybe around a dozen. And you'll be able to trade ideas, right? We're hoping to have some roundtables so you can talk to peers of yours around what they're doing, right? To take advantage of this new philosophy around, finding signals for your sellers. And as part of this beta, you'll have 6 months access to Zengain, no strings attached. We're not taking a credit card. We're not doing anything financial we're just onboarding you to the product. And what we'd ask for in return is your feedback. Is this providing value to you and your team? And frankly, I think it's a great way to kick off the new year, just by giving this a shot. Implementation is really easy. I actually did it myself the other day on an app that I own, and already bearing fruit for me, seeing signals of new users and what they're doing in the product. So, frankly, the product's great in so many ways, and we look forward to working with you if you're interested. And that's what we have today for the webinar. So thanks so much for stopping by. I will take a couple questions if folks have them. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold here. All right, one question I'm seeing is, can you provide an example of a signal that would be interesting to a seller? And what signal should we start with? Okay, so two-part question. Yeah, I'll answer that actually, both those questions with one response, I think, which is this philosophy, this way of thinking, a way of operating, right? This mode of operation of handing your sellers signals that they can go act on. It can be very deep. I mean, there are all sorts of different things you could look at. But I would say if you're getting started in this journey, keep it simple, right? Give your sellers login information. Who's logged into the trial? Who's logged into the customer account in the first 30, those critical first 30 days? Who's logged into maybe a new feature, a new product that you just released, right? So just seeing who's getting into your product and using it. Maybe there's new users, right? I think that's a good place to start, and that's going to open up the door to all sorts of other opportunities that you might come across with the data and areas where you might want to pursue, right, other signals. And frankly, this product will be very flexible in the sense that you configure which features, which steps in the product journey are important to you. And those are the ones that we're going to focus on as we send those signals over to your team. I only have one more question here. Is this a 6-month offer on a 1-year deal? Oh, I see. No, this isn't 6 months free or anything like that for, if you sign up for a year. This is just 6 months free. So you will have free access to Zengain. Assuming you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you, and we can chat about that. So all we're asking at this point with the URL zengain.com/beta is that you apply and we can have a quick chat and make sure that what we're building is actually going to suit your needs. But then after that, we'll give you access, we'll help you with the implementation. And, the payment, frankly, is just feedback. We want to understand how well it's working for you and how it's helping your team or what we could do in addition to help your team. So it's a great way to influence the direction of the product as well. But no, there is no strings attached on the financial side at all. So That's all I see for questions. So I think we can close here. We're about 5 minutes early, but that's no problem. Happy to give you your time back. And thank you. Thanks for coming by. Again, if you're interested in checking out more about the product, Zengain.com is the place to go. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.